North Columbus receives an early wake-up call. A train derails, then explodes shortly after 2 a.m.
I just hope it ain't nobody on there. And he just said, I hope it ain't neither. And I just took off to go see.
As firefighters try to contain the situation, neighbors have to run from their homes.
This is all I have right now. Just on me, literally. Just my pajamas, my shoes, and that's it.
As the situation stabilizes, many questions remain. What caused the derailment? Could it have been prevented? ABC 6 was first on the air with train explosion coverage this morning, and we have the best team coverage tonight.
What exactly was on that train, and how dangerous is it? The cars that derailed and blew up were carrying ethanol. That's a pure alcohol used as fuel. Other cars on the train were carrying styrene, but that didn't leak. Styrene is used in styrofoam cups and insulation for electrical wires. An OSU chemistry professor says right now the chemicals don't pose too much of a danger.
For example, if you spilt chocolate on your carpet, chocolate should not be on your carpet, and so you want to clean it up fast. That's what's happening right now, nothing more.
Well, the professor says the chemicals are evaporating quickly.
Now, the evacuation zone is now a quarter-mile radius. It was originally 1 mile. Now it's from East 11th Avenue on the north to East 5th at the south, Essex Avenue over on the right there to the east, and North Grant Avenue on the west. People living in that area got a knock on their door right after the explosion today, and they were told immediately to evacuate. ABC 6 reporter Maria Durant continues our team coverage now as the neighbors finally get home. Maria.
Well, Bob, around 1:30 this afternoon, the people who live along 11th Avenue and here on Grant Avenue as well were told that they could go back home. You can see kind of how close that they live right next to the tracks. It's right beyond those trees. If you take a closer look, too, you can still see a little bit of burning. People telling me those that had to leave are glad to be back home tonight. We caught up with Edna Russell after a night she won't soon forget.
Big explosion, big boom and shaking of the house.
Hours after being told to leave the comforts of her home,
I wasn't able to lock my house. I just left. I didn't grab any papers.
She's finally back and sitting with her best friend Brenda, who was also evacuated.
Looked out the window and all I could see was like orange, fire.
Brenda tells me after she evacuated, she was worried about her home.
I was afraid because of the dry trees and bush area that it was going to spread. It was going to spread. First thing came to my mind was Colorado.
And the two friends were worried about each other, praying that the other was okay.
But I was so concerned about my neighbor because I couldn't find her.
Roads were blocked off, crews forcing people to leave. The two tell me it was chaos. It wasn't until several hours after the evacuation that they were able to reconnect.
She's such a friend and I owe her a lot, and I was going to make sure that she'd be okay.
And now reunited, knowing each other is safe. Here we go. Now, I did speak with the battalion chief just a few moments ago, and he tells me while all these residents are able to get back into their homes, he says 3 or 4 businesses have not been able to open today. They will not be open tonight. He hopes that they will be able to open tomorrow. Of course, we'll keep you updated. We are live in North Columbus. I'm Maria Durant, ABC 6 News.
Maria, thank you. And as you can imagine, the 911 lines were flooded with calls. They knew there was a massive explosion, but they didn't know where it was.
Where's your emergency?
Yeah, I'm not too sure where it's at, but something just blew up. It's on the other side of 6 and 7. It just blew up.
You can hear the fear in their voices there. And when something like this happens, confusion spreads along with the flames, and even the 911 dispatchers aren't immune to it.
It looks like there's fire on the fairgrounds. We're not sure what's going on. We think a plane came down.
Well, dozens of frightened people took refuge in a shelter set up on the Ohio State Fairgrounds, and that's where we find ABC 6 reporter Luann Stoya. She joins us now live. Luann?
Well, the doors are now locked here, but earlier today, this emergency shelter was welcoming folks here, folks who were escaping the danger.
It was traumatic for people to leave their home in the wee hours with few belongings, some with memories of a loud screeching of brakes and then an explosion.
Looked like an atom bomb, like boom, it's just explosion. Scary. Man, it's just I thank God I'm still alive.
A cup of coffee and a snack from volunteers helped comfort the people who needed shelter. However, medical issues for some became a concern at the evacuation center.
Not because of the smoke, but because of anxiety. That was a big thing that several people of our clients displayed.
Mayor Michael Coleman visited the evacuation center, talking with clients and answering questions from people who were ousted from their homes.
I'm grateful it did not occur in a more populated area where the incidents may have been even greater and more tragic.
Seeing the flames and smoke will stay with many of the evacuees.
A huge fireball and a lot of white smoke. It was crazy, like something out the movies.
But volunteers were forced to deal with realities.
They were concerned that their house was not going to be there when they got back.
Staff at the center say it was important to keep people comfortable, calm, and informed as the incident unfolded.
And so for many people, they were unable to grab their purse, a jacket, or belongings. But people who were at the shelter today told me they were just glad to have a safe place to stay. Reporting live at the Fairgrounds, Luann Stoya, ABC 6 News.
Hearing that big boom at 2 o'clock in the morning caused two Wineland Park neighbors to take action. They told ABC 6's Lisa Rontola they ran toward the wreck instead of away to try to help anyone who may have been in harm's way.
He's just coming home from the hospital 5 hours after Milton Jones thought he could help in the middle of this.
I just heard a loud crash. I just hope it ain't nobody on there. And he just said, I hope it ain't neither. And I just took off to go see.
He ran to the railroad tracks, even jumping over a brick wall to get to the wreckage. But then knowing hazardous materials could be on board.
My friend said, what if it explodes? We need to get out of here. And I'm like, man, hold on. I need to go see real quick. And he just pulled me away.
Jones and his friend barely escaped with their lives.
We actually got to the street right here, and just a big bang. And I just felt the heat, took off running, and just felt like I was hot. Get the pat in my head, shoulder, and everything.
Jones ran back home with second-degree burns on his shoulder and back and called 911. At the hospital, he was questioned by fire investigators. What were they asking you?
Just basically what happened, what did I do, what would be the right thing to do in times like that.
Lisa Rontola, ABC 6 News.
As amazing as those pictures have been from the ground, you need to get above it all to really see the scope of the damage here, and we sent our ABC 6 reporter Tom Bosco to the skies today to get a better look.
It's not far from the ABC 6 studios to the scene of the derailment by helicopter. The pilot took me to about 700 feet. On this cloudless day, it wasn't hard to spot the wreck from above. The derailed cars scattered and tossed in a pile, while fountains of flames shot out of them. Not as intense as this morning, but still burning, and a worry to firefighters who stood by. The train was coming from the north, from Chicago. The track turns east for about 2 miles before continuing south. But at the northern curve between East 11th and 5th Avenues, disaster. 16 cars derailed. In this shot, you can see at least 9 twisted and flipped.
One thing I can't show you from 700 feet off the ground is the smell. I can tell you, though, we went through that smoky area there. It smells definitely like a chemical. However, it doesn't really sting the eyes or the nostrils at all, but it doesn't smell good either.
3 of those burning cars have ethanol inside. 2 other cars spilled wheat and corn syrup. Sand is being used to solidify the syrup. Firefighters are pouring water on the area as well to keep the fire from spreading. Railroad officials were able to get the rest of the train out of the area, but the ethanol burns and it's not clear when it'll burn itself out. Over North Columbus, I'm Tom Bosco, ABC 6 News.